Have you ever had the courage to admit that you failed to recognize greatness when it was standing right in front of you? Not a small mistake, not a passing misjudgment, but the kind of error that time turns into legend. Henrik Larsson admitted it calmly, without excuses and without drama, almost as if he had made peace with it. He didn't understand what he was seeing when Lionel Messi took his first steps at Barcelona. And today, that confession sounds less like an anecdote and more like regret. Larsson arrived at Barcelona in 2004 as an established striker, experienced, respected, and already complete as a footballer. The dressing room had a king, and his name was Ronaldinho. He wasn't just winning matches, he was making people fall in love with football again. Everything revolved around his smile, his charisma, his theatrical way of playing the game. And in the middle of all that light, there was a quiet teenager, shy, almost invisible, with a child's face and a left foot that hadn't yet announced its destiny. To most people, including Larsson, he was just another academy kid. Years later, Larsson told the story with striking honesty. On a preseason flight, he saw the boy sitting there in silence. He didn't catch his attention. He didn't spark curiosity. There was no instant intuition. Only later, during training sessions, after watching him touch the ball and solve everything with unnatural ease, did Larsson casually ask who that kid was. The answer came without emphasis, without drama. That's Messi. No one could imagine that this simple name would go on to dominate world football for the next 2 decades. That is where the first layer of irony appears. Larsson had played with great footballers, had seen real talent up close, yet he still couldn't foresee what was coming. Not because he lacked football intelligence, but because some forms of greatness don't announce themselves loudly. Messi didn't speak much, didn't demand attention, didn't try to impose himself. He simply played. And in that quiet simplicity, many failed to understand what they were witnessing. Barcelona at that time was the perfect place for Messi to remain in the background. Ronaldinho was the emotional leader, the symbol of the club's rebirth. Xavi and Iniesta were beginning to develop their silent understanding in midfield. Eto'o lived for goals. Surrounded by all of this, Messi looked too small, too fragile, too reserved. How could anyone imagine that this teenager would eventually surpass them all in terms of legacy? How could anyone foresee that he would redefine the limits of football itself? Then destiny intervened, as it often does in football, with cruel elegance. The 2006 Champions League final in Paris arrived on a rainy night filled with tension. Messi was injured, watching from the stands, unable to take part. Arsenal struck first, doubt crept in, and history seemed to be slipping away. That's when Larsson came off the bench. The same Larsson who hadn't recognized Messi's future greatness. In a matter of minutes, he delivered 2 decisive assists. Barcelona lifted the trophy. Messi won his first Champions League without playing. The beginning of an era was sealed through the actions of a man who once underestimated him. The irony is almost poetic. The player who failed to see Messi's potential became a crucial figure in Messi's first European triumph. As if football itself wanted to remind us that no one is outside the story, not even those who doubted. Larsson wasn't wrong out of arrogance. He was wrong because he was human, and that is precisely why his confession carries so much weight. Later, Larsson would witness Cristiano Ronaldo's rise at Manchester United and share moments with Ronaldinho at his peak. 3 names, 3 generations, 3 different interpretations of greatness. Cristiano built himself into a relentless machine, driven by obsession and ambition. Ronaldinho played with joy, freedom, and creativity. Messi, on the other hand, seemed to exist in silence, as if he had nothing to prove. Different paths, same destination. Yet only one managed to sustain excellence for 2 decades, reinvent himself, win everything, and still compete as if it were his first day. This is where the story transcends football and becomes a reflection on life. How many times do we underestimate someone because they don't fit our expectations? How often do we confuse noise with leadership, charisma with greatness, presence with impact? Messi was never the loudest voice in the room. He was never the one seeking attention. His football spoke for him, And maybe that's why even great professionals took so long to truly understand him. Larsson admits it openly. He didn't see it coming. Not because Messi showed nothing, but because no one imagined how far he could go. And that truth is uncomfortable. Real talent doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it grows quietly, patiently, without applause or permission. Messi never promised greatness. He delivered it. Today, almost 20 years later, the image is undeniable. Messi is the eternal symbol of Barcelona, a World Cup champion with Argentina, the man who changed the meaning of being a footballer. Not just because of what he won, but because of how he did it, without losing his essence, without becoming someone else to survive at the top. When Larsson remembers that quiet boy on a preseason flight, he does so not with pride, but with humility. His confession reminds us that football, like life, always has surprises waiting. That some stories can only be understood once they are complete. That greatness often arrives quietly and reveals itself when it's already too late to doubt it. So now I ask you directly, how many times have you underestimated someone who later proved you wrong? Do you believe Messi's story is the ultimate proof that true greatness doesn't need an introduction? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy these human, reflective, and timeless football stories, subscribe for more documentaries that go beyond results and trophies. Because football, just like life, always has something deeper to teach us.